Well, the International Committee of the Red Cross says the situation is dire and desperate. It's scaling up its response in Ukraine as well as neighbouring regions. Let's get an update from Alona Sinyenko, spokesperson for the International Committee of the Red Cross based in Nairobi. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it. Over 2 million people have fled. They're afraid, they're desperate for help, and they're struggling to survive. Tell us about the situation on the ground.
As you have very well described, the situation is dire and it is getting worse as the violence continues. So right now we have a very large concern for people who are trapped in cities like Mariupol. Basically, we are seeing hundreds of thousands of people there who spend long hours hiding underground, many people without electricity, without medical supplies, the food and water. The food supplies are also getting short. So the situation is getting worse. And when we speak with our colleagues on the ground, they describe the situation as apocalyptic.
You mentioned that there are people trapped in Mariupol. Is there any way of any aid agencies assisting them? And why is it so difficult to do so right now?
We do have a team in Mariupol and they have been assisting people with the essentials, but of course the needs are growing as the violence continues and more needs to be done. So we are sending supplies, we are sending more people into Ukraine, but in places like Mariupol, where the fighting is ongoing, it's extremely difficult to move around because of the security situation. So basically, we need parties on the ground to come to concrete agreements so that people who are in these places, they can get a respite and they can receive the much needed humanitarian assistance.
Yeah, that's the situation, right? Because we're seeing that 1,200 people are estimated to have died in Mariupol. So how do you navigate right now? I know you say it's difficult, but what are you doing on the ground right now for those in need?
We do have a team in Mariupol, and they have been distributing some of the essential supplies to the people who are in the city. And we are sending more supplies and more people, and also we are constantly talking to the parties to the conflict, reminding them that it is their obligation under the international humanitarian law to respect civilians, to respect civilian infrastructure, and also ensure that people can get the essential humanitarian assistance that they need.
Talk to me about the unaccompanied minors that you're actually finding coming to you for help. What's the situation there?
Well, if we speak about any conflict where people are running for their lives, where people are fleeing violence or where they are hiding, that of course in these situations it is very easy to lose contact with your family members and especially with children. Like we see people losing their children in supermarkets. So you can easily imagine when people are in panic when they flee. So unfortunately, yes, this is a real risk. This situation do occur. I don't have any exhaustive numbers that I could share with you right now, but it is a very big concern that we have.
There were 7 humanitarian corridors set up to assist people. How is that working, and do we need more?
What we do need is for the parties to come to concrete and precise agreement so that people who want to exit the city, they can have the safe passage, and that for people who are still in the city, they can get the respite from the fighting and they can get the much needed humanitarian assistance. So this is what we need, and unfortunately what we see right now that there haven't been concrete agreements, and it has been extremely difficult for us, for our security of our own teams to assist people who are in the city.
Yeah. What about medical assistance? How are you managing that situation?
This is one of the major concerns, and we are now in the country, we're evaluating the medical needs And as I said, we're sending more people, more supplies, and preparing to respond. And in many places, the medical supplies are running short.
The International Monetary Fund released $1.4 billion to actually assist with aid. But given the large scale of this crisis that we're seeing unfolding and more people fleeing, you're definitely going to need more money when it comes to assisting people.
What we need right now, we need peace, and we need concrete agreements, and so that people can get this assistance, and also people can get to their lives. I think this is the major priority for everybody right now, for people inside the country, for people who have fled the country, and for the humanitarian situations, organizations on the ground like ours, who are trying to assist and are working in extremely volatile and difficult conditions.
Yeah. That's very unlikely to happen given what we're seeing with the talks, right? And also given the fact that you say that the humanitarian corridors, people are still being attacked despite that being set up. So looking at the situation right now, what's your next move? And is there anything more you can do as the Red Cross? I know it's almost impossible to say that you can handle the situation and all aid organizations can, but what can you do?
What we're doing is our traditional role as the guardian of the international humanitarian law. So we are talking to all the parties and reminding them of their obligations to protect civilians, to protect civilian infrastructure, and also to ensure that people who are trapped in the cities, that they can receive humanitarian assistance. Yeah. There are children, there are elderly people, women who are hiding in underground for hours in a row, who are in distress, in fear, who have no electricity, no heating, and it is important for us that they can get the humanitarian assistance that they need. And this is what we're doing, talking to everybody to make sure that this happens.
All right, thank you so much for everything you guys are doing. Appreciate your time. Alona Sinyenko, spokesperson for the International Committee of the Red Cross based in Nairobi.